sponsors, encouraging, educating, and empowering you to action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Good evening, Warriors. Welcome to another episode of Warriors Talk. I am your host, Lady ReShell, and October is known worldwide as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But awareness without action is just information. So tonight we're talking about what it means not only to take action, but do it year-round and make an impact. So here's the truth. Breast Cancer Awareness Month doesn't just end with October, but November, December, and every month after that. The question is, what will you do with what you have learned this month? So go ahead, grab your tea, your water, and your journals, and join in on this life-saving conversation. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Dr. Michelle Meeks and I discussed hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism and how your thyroids can tip the scale. So head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. Our quote of the day is: awareness without action is like planting a seed and not watering it. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. I'm so grateful for my sponsor on today. We have Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live, Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. You'll view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emmanuel of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
I am not, but are you live on YouTube? Okay. I'll just keep going then. Unless you want me to start from the top. Okay. Let me press it. On today's episode, we're talking about what we're going to do after the month of October. Now that we are winding down to the end of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, what are you going to do with all of that information that you've just learned about breast cancer, about awareness? How do you take that information and transform it over into your life to where you're making daily actions? What kind of actions can you take? So today we're going to talk about that. Awareness versus action. What is awareness? Awareness is known as just knowing what breast cancer is, knowing that it exists. And action is doing something about the awareness that you have just learned. So wear your pink, but what are you going to do after that? What type of choices, what type of commitments are you going to make to take action beyond October? So I will give you some examples of awareness that you can take. Number one, you can schedule your mammogram, and you can also encourage someone else to do the same. Take a friend with you if you are nervous to get a mammogram. Sometimes we talk to other people about mammograms and we frighten them. And next thing you know, they like, oh no, I'm not going to get no mammogram because my friend Susie said when she got a mammogram, they smashed her breast and she was hurting for days. She was just in pain. And so take a friend with you if you think that you may be afraid or you don't have the courage to do it. Sometimes when you do it with somebody, you're more apt to do it. So I encourage you to go and then encourage someone else to go. Another action you can take is learn your family history and your genetic risk. What type of cancer, not just breast cancer, but what type of cancers run in your family? And what does that history look like? Is it a mother, a father? Is it a distant, your grandmother? Your grandfather or an aunt, uncle, like what does it look like? And then think about your risk. If it's an immediate family member, then you know that your risk it increases and you need to be talking to your doctor about that risk. I always tell my girls I was diagnosed at 43. So at 33, which is 10 years before my diagnosis, they should be talking to their doctors about screening. Or whenever you go to the doctor, they normally ask you questions and it lists what runs in your family. Be honest about what runs in your family so that you can start having a conversation about when it's necessary for you to screen. And when it comes to genetic risk, you may need to get genetic testing if breast cancer does run in your family. Then you may want to start talking about genetic testing to see what percentage puts you at risk for breast cancer. There's the BRCA1 and the BRCA2 gene. If you test positive for either one, then we know it increases your chance of breast cancer as well as ovarian cancer. So you want to be having those conversations with your family as well as with your doctor. Another way to take action is to support organizations year round. Different organizations, especially local ones that are in your community, you can volunteer, you can donate, you can advocate. When you see an organization share a post on Facebook, whether they're having an event or they're just sharing information, share that post out as well. That's one way of helping to spread the word. You can call them up and ask, how can you volunteer with them? If they're having an event, they may need more hands. Call up and say, hey, I see that you have a gala coming up. How can I be useful? If you have a donation, sometimes people think donations always equal money, and it doesn't. Sometimes you can donate items, sometimes you can donate time, and then sometimes you can donate money. Just figure out what it is that you can do, what you're capable of doing, but do something. Another action you can take is to adopt a healthier diet and lifestyle. This will help reduce your risk of cancer, period. Not just breast cancer, but cancer and other life threatening diseases. If you're not moving, if you're not exercising, we know that exercising reduces your risk of breast cancer. It also reduces your risk of having a reoccurrence of cancer. Make sure that you're eating the right foods that will fuel your body to destroy those cancer cells. Find out what type of foods. There's blueberries, there's um, broccoli that you can eat, there's avocados that you can eat, different type of fruits. But the berries, I heard that they have to be frozen berries in order for you to get the benefit, the full benefit of those berries. So find out what type of foods that you can eat that would help fuel your system so that you can decrease your risk of breast cancer and overall live a healthier lifestyle. They talk about alcohol increases your risk of breast cancer. So if you know you're having more than one or two drinks a day, then you know that your chances of getting breast cancer will go up. So make sure you're even decreasing your alcohol, making sure when it comes to smoking, you're not smoking. We know that smoking contributes to lung cancer as well. Another way to reduce your risk or to take action when it comes to breast cancer, moving from awareness towards action, is having an open conversation about health, period, with loved ones. A lot of times we're afraid to have these conversations. Number one, because they're scary and we don't want to hear it we don't want to hear about people being sick. We don't want to know. A lot of times people pass away and they may not even say what they passed away from. They may keep it a secret until other people in the family start getting these diseases. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, so and so passed away from. And you're just like, what? Why didn't nobody tell me this? Like, it's important for us to have conversations because it empowers us to have this information, because then you know how to really move forward in your life. You know that if diabetes run in your family, then okay, it runs in your family. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to get diabetes, but I always say that your lifestyle, it loads the gun. Whatever you're doing, you're fueling it, right? You're loading that gun. But then you can also pull the trigger just by the daily things that you do. So just make sure that you know, okay, diabetes run in my family, and I know if I do certain things that it put me at an increased risk for diabetes. So then you take those necessary actions, necessary steps to decrease your risk. Diabetes is one of those things that run in my family, type 1 and type 2, but we know type 1 is lifestyle. Type 2 is more autoimmune. So type 2 would be the one that I would watch out for as far as what I eat, me getting moving, and just basically watching my overall health because I know that it runs in my family. Awareness plants the seed. So we get this awareness information every October. And I feel like Breast Cancer Awareness Month does an excellent job at awareness, an excellent job at planting the seed at breast cancer awareness. But it's the action that you take that actually waters that seed. And without that next step, then we can't grow. Change can't happen. You have to be able to take what you learned and turn it into action. So, what do you need to do with year-round action? How does year-round action looks when it comes to awareness? Again, getting out of that month of October and doing more with what you have learned. Know your risk factors. Know that as you increase with age, ladies, that so does breast cancer. Genetics affect more. 85% of women who get breast cancer do not have a family history. It's that 15 to 20% is only have that familiar risk, that genetic link. So don't feel like, oh well, breast cancer doesn't run in my family, so I really don't have to worry about it. Well, according to research, according to statistics, 85% of women who are diagnosed don't have that family history. So, whether you have a family history or not, you should know what the risk factors are when it comes to age with breast cancer. And nowadays, younger and younger women are being diagnosed with breast cancer. They tell you to get a mammogram at 40, but a lot of women are being diagnosed way before 40, way before 40. So don't let the age criteria fool you into thinking that, oh, I don't have to worry about my breasts until I get of this age. No, younger women are being diagnosed all the time. Make sure that you are performing your monthly self checks just so you would know what your normals are, so that when something is not normal, then you're able to identify it. And if it's lasting more than 3 weeks, you're talking to your doctor about it. So if you're doing your monthly checks, then you know what your normal feel shape of your breast feel like before and after your period, and then you can determine if something is not normal. But if you're not doing those normal checks, as soon as you feel something, you can be like, "Oh, I think this is negative. I think I may have breast cancer." No, you should be touching your breasts every single month so that you know what your normal feel like. When it comes to routine screenings, this conversation should start with your doctor, because sometimes when you're younger, they try to steer you away from being screened. But if you have issues with your breast, if you have breast cancer that runs in your family, especially if someone was diagnosed younger, then you should be having those conversations with your doctor about what does routine screening looks like for me. When should I start routine screenings? When should I start the clinical exams? And what does it look like for me moving forward as it relates to routine screenings? For some people, if you're younger, they do the clinical exams once a year. If nothing's there, they may just want to monitor you, just and check in with you just because it may run in your family. If you don't have any issues, they may say, oh, okay, well, you can do it every year, or it's not time for you to do the mammogram yet. Wait until you're 40. So it just depends on your history and if you have any type of ongoing issues with your breast. Eat for prevention. Eat more plants and less processed foods. Processed foods is just not as it relates to just breast cancer, but any type of disease, your diabetes, your heart disease, as it relates to stroke, high blood pressure, like eating more plant-based, eating less processed foods, it's going to have less sodium. If you're cooking more at home, you know what you're putting in your food, and you can fix it to where you can do less sodium. They have all different types of seasoning out here that does not contain salt, to where you can season your food to where it could taste really good. So you just have to make sure that if you need to get a nutritionist and say, hey, these are the things that I'm concerned about, and I would like to see how I can eat so that I can prevent these certain diseases. And the more and more good fuel that you put in your body, the more good results that you're going to have. Year-round action looks like organization participation. I just talked about this, and to local events. Don't be afraid to participate. These big organizations, trust me, they have people donating to them all the time. So they probably won't even see your name come across when you donate money. It goes right into the pot. But when you donate to these local organizations, they really appreciate it. That money goes directly to, most of the time, the people that they are helping. We just Warriors Talk with our ninth annual Survivor Celebration, a reflection gala this past October 18th. We donated $1,000 to individual that was dealing with metastatic breast cancer. And you just don't know. I mean, $1,000 may not seem like a lot to these big organizations, but to an individual that is day to day, that may not have a job, that may be trying to get to and from treatment, that may need medicine, or maybe just need food. $1,000 can be a lot of money. And we were able to put the check in her hand right at the event. And trust, man, when I say tears was flowing, tears was flowing. And I wish that I could do more. And I know in the future that I will. But I feel like I just had to do something because someone out here needs that money. You can support someone that's in treatment. You can buy an Uber card and give it to someone that may not have a car and that may need to get back and forth to treatment, and you can put it right in their hands. You can order groceries to come to their house. You don't necessarily have to be like, I'm gonna take you grocery shopping. No, you can talk to them and see what it is that they like to eat and have the groceries delivered right to their house. Like things that you can do to make sure that you're making a direct impact on these individuals. Sometimes people just need encouragement. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're giving them anything. Call them and see how they're doing. Check on them. Hey, you're on my mind today. I hope all is well. Keep going, keep fighting. I'm thinking about you. You got this. Sometimes people just need encouragement. They don't necessarily need anything where they're going through. One of the things that I wish people would do is to share credible information when people are going through their cancer journeys. A lot of times we don't. We hear all these different myths, these stories about different things that are going on. Oh, so and so went on an all celery diet and they were able to, cure their cancer. And you tell these people that and you make them feel some type of way because that's not the way that they want to do it. Now, it may have worked for that person, but it may not work for everybody. Everybody's body is different. Everybody diagnosis is different. Everybody treatment may be different. Although we may have the same cancer, the treatment may affect my body different than it may affect your body. So if you're going to give somebody some information, make sure that it's credible and that you avoid these different myths that are out here that would make someone feel less than because they choose to do something else. You can partner with the community health centers to help spread information. A lot of times they have different events going on. I mean, again, you can share whatever they're sharing on Facebook, whatever events they have coming up. You can share that information to any individual that you know that's dealing with cancer, that's not dealing with cancer. Just share the information out. The more people that have the information, the better it is. We perish for the lack of knowledge. A lot of times we just don't know. We don't know, okay, this information is out here, but a lot of times in our community, we don't like to share the information. Sometimes it be a lot of free stuff in our community as well. We'll go get it and we won't call anybody else and say, "Oh girl, yeah, they was giving out these coats, brand new coats, girl, up the street." We'll go get the coats, go home, and won't even call nobody else and say, "Girl, go get your coat." They got like share the information. It doesn't hurt. You can also contact your legislators to support breast cancer research funding. Pick up the phone, send an email. It's so easy to do. You could join me when I go to Washington. I'm going in January and I'll be back again in April. You can join me in Washington and we meet with the legislators face to face. You can do it right here at home. You can go to their town hall meetings and you can talk to them. You can ask questions. Again, you can send a letter, you can write an email, you can post something on your Facebook and you can tag them in it, call them out. Like, I need you to support some of these, cancer fundraising initiatives. We vote these people in, we need to hold them accountable. You can join support advocacy groups like the National Breast Cancer Coalition. They train advocates so that we can hit the front lines and we can be equipped to talk to our legislators. We could be equipped to go out in the community and spread information to individuals in our community, again, that may not know all of the things that we have in the community that would help an individual go through their cancer journey with support so that they don't feel like they're alone. A lot of times people feel like they're alone, they don't have any support, any resources, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's so many different resources out here, different platforms that are doing different things that would help support you alone in your cancer journey. You can attend summits and webinars to help stay informed. That's what I do. And that's the main reason for me going to Washington in May, is so that I go to the seminars, I go to the summits so that I can get information. I can stay up to date on everything as it has to do with breast cancer. I can't call myself an advocate and I'm not out there educating myself so that I would be able to help individuals that are going through. You have to be able to educate yourself, get this information, and then share what you have learned with other people. Don't keep it to yourself. True action is not a one-time event, but it's a lifestyle. So it's something that I wouldn't say that you have to do it every single day, but it's something that should be consistent, especially when it comes to breast cancer. So the cost of stopping just at awareness. If we decide to just say, okay, we're just going to stop at awareness, breast cancer awareness month has passed and I'm done with that. I wore my pink. I purchased something in pink. I shared a post, and now breast cancer awareness month is over. Like I've done what I was supposed to do. Well, according to statistic, it says an estimated 310,720 new cases of breast cancer will be diagnosed in women in the U.S. in 2025. That's according to the American Cancer Society. That's a lot of women who will be diagnosed. And if we just stay at awareness, then that number, that 1 in 8 of women diagnosed with breast cancer in the US, is going to stay at that, or either it's going to stay at that, or either it's going to, the number will go down. It may be 1 in 6. So, roughly out of that number, 43,700 women are expected to die from breast cancer in the US in 2025. I don't care if it's one person. One person is one too many. Is one too many. Early detection through screening can lower deaths by up to 30%. If you notice, they always push early detection. We never hear them say cure. We never really hear them say prevention, but the focus is always on early prevention. And I always say early prevention is just means that you have breast cancer, they just caught it early. It just means that your treatment will may be less invasive. You may have more treatment options. You may not have to go through all of the invasive treatment that someone may have to go through at a stage 3, or your treatment options at stage 4 may be less. So early detection, screening save lives. So when it's time for you to get your mammograms, just go and get the mammogram. And if you have dense breast is when the tissue in your breast looks just like breast cancer. So it's hard for them to tell if they see cancer on a regular mammogram. So you have to make sure if they ever mention that you have dense breast, that you should be getting a different type of mammogram and not the regular mammogram. If you have to get the MRI one to where they're able to see in detail past that dense tissue in your breast, then that's what you need to do. Whenever they say dense tissue, you know that you should not be getting the normal mammogram. In Black women, we are 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, even though our incident rate is the same when it comes to us being diagnosed. So it's not that Black women are being diagnosed more. It's just that when we're diagnosed, we're more likely to die from the disease. And that can come from a number of reasons. It could be maybe limited access to care. It could be maybe we're not following up more when the doctors send us a letter and say, hey, we saw something suspicious. You need to come back in. We're like, yeah, no, I'm not going. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Or we may put it off, put it off. We may feel something. And then because we tend to take care of everybody else but ourselves a lot of time until we don't have any other choice but to go in. And then when we do go in, we're being diagnosed at later stages. So that's really where the majority of the 40% come in, is that a lot of times we may go get mammograms and maybe the machines that they're using may not be up-to-date machines, may not be able to catch the mammograms on those machines. Or again, you have to make sure that we are following up. This is you get one body, one temple, and make sure that you are following up. Don't put it off, don't deny, but verify it. And so those numbers remind us that this isn't just about awareness, it's about action that saves lives. Early screening, conversations, and even policy changes. All of it counts. All of it counts. Don't discount one and say, oh, it's not my job to talk to, my legislature about anything to do with breast cancer. They should know. No, no. These people you have voted in, you have a right to voice your opinion. Your voice matters. So I have a call to action for warriors. To every warrior that's listening, choose one action that you can take before the end of the year, whether it be scheduling your mammogram, inviting a friend to join you, volunteer with an organization, or simply if you have had breast cancer and you just share your story with someone. What action are you going to take as it relates to moving beyond October? Because what happens when October is over? We go back to business as usual. But think about it. What type of action can you take? You could drop it in the comments. What type of action can you take to move beyond awareness towards taking action when October has ended? And remember, as we close out Breast Cancer Awareness Month, awareness just opens the door. but we know action helps us walk through that door. So let's not just wear pink, but let's make sure we're living beyond that pink with prevention, with education, with advocacy, and with the action that we're taking. Mm, And again, it doesn't have to be on a daily basis, but it should be something that we incorporate into our life. It should be a lifestyle. Living healthy should be a lifestyle. Making healthier choices should be a lifestyle. Getting moving should be a lifestyle. Talking about health should be a lifestyle. So, what type of action are you going to take? Is me challenging you beyond Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All right, you guys. So there you have it. What happens after October? You let me know what happens after October. You let me know what type of action you're going to take once this month has ended. I want to highlight my closing sponsor, which is Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, and she's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. You can go to marykay.com/GDOTSON and let her know that Warriors Talk sent you. Warriors Talk is always looking for individuals to share their story on Warriors Talk. If you have been through a life altering diagnosis or just an event in your life and you want to encourage someone else, I encourage you to contact me via email, warriorstalk1@gmail.com, or you can send me an inbox on Facebook and let me know you want to share your story. You can purchase my journal. This is a guided journal for healing, faith, and empowerment. And this is you taking charge of cancer. Remember, cancer is a diagnosis that changes everything, but it doesn't have to define who you are. So, this journal is for individuals who are in the cancer battle, and you could take it with you to treatment and you can journal your whole treatment. And after that, you can begin to write your book if that's what you want to do. Warriors Talk just released our second anthology, When Warriors Talk Faith Emerges, letting go and letting God transform our journeys. And I have 4 new authors that talked about surrendering to God and allowing Him to just guide them through their cancer journey and how their faith was renewed because of it. So if you know someone that's going through a life altering journey or situation, this would be a good book for them to read. It would definitely give you some encouragement and it would help you to uplift your faith. All right, you guys, that has been our episode of Warriors Talk today. I will leave you with these words of wisdom. Awareness is only as powerful when it leads to action. So make sure you join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.